welcome to your Friday. I'm Teresa Dufour.
And I'm Ryan Christopher. It's 9 o'clock. We have quite the show lined up for you today, and I hear you're going to be away next week.
A little bit of time off. Yeah, Jocelyn will be here keeping the white couch warm with you. So
Somebody's got to do it.
Looking forward to sleeping through the night. You have big plans this weekend?
Nothing so far.
All
so
right,
it
relax.
Should be fun.
When we come back, I'll be back Monday on Halloween. We have a very special, spooky Halloween show.
Do you know what you're going to be for Halloween? Do you have a costume idea yet?
I have a hunch, but I could be swayed either way.
Well, actually, there's a new way to find out what you should be for Halloween. Everybody at home, grab your iPhone and ask Siri. Here we go. Siri, what should I be for Halloween?
The scariest thing I can think of, a human hypothetical question.
Siri, that's bad. Wait, can
bad.
I do it too?
Yeah,
Siri, what can I be for Halloween? Oh, my audio's off.
Come on,
Wait, here we go. Let's try it again.
Okay.
Let's try it again.
We have
a
half-hour show.
I know. Siri, what should I be for Halloween?
How about a tasseled wobbegong?
Oh, a tasseled wobbegong?
Glad I asked.
What is that? Somebody tweet us a tasseled wobbegong. That's unique.
All right, so moving on now.
On that note, here's what's brewing this morning.
Presidential candidates Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton tore into each other at a charity dinner hosted at the Catholic Archdiocese of New York last night.
Yeah.
You'd think they would be nice to each other at a Christian event.
Not quite. That was not the case. And Hillary was up there joking about how Donald always talks about her taking naps. And so she took advantage of that. And speaking of naps, apparently there's a wrong and right way to do it. You and I, we're kind of pros when it comes to naps.
I clearly am doing it the wrong way after this story. Researchers found that most of us don't abide by the first rule of Nap Club, which is don't snooze for too long.
What? I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah, people tend to wake up from super short power naps feeling refreshed, but anything longer than half an hour makes us feel sluggish because of something called sleep inertia.
Now what is sleep inertia?
Well, around the 30-minute point, Ryan, we fall into the deepest part of sleep, and when that's disturbed too quickly, we feel worse than before we got the shut-eye. So aim for 20 minutes.
20 minutes or less.
Like before baby, I would take like 4 or 5 hour naps.
Yeah, which is fun though. I mean, it's kind of enjoyable.
Yeah, you split your sleep, but
yeah. Well, I feel like now with our schedules, we don't really sleep. We just nap. You know, you go home, take a little nap, and then you nap at night.
And you come back to work.
That is it. Hey, in that it is Halloween coming up.
Yes.
Ouija boards. Have you ever had one?
I had one. Yes, I remember trying to bring it to my next door neighbor's house, and his dad wouldn't let me bring it in the house.
They weren't having it. Okay.
Yeah, like, no, don't come in with that.
Well, you might appreciate this next story then, because there's a man in Pennsylvania who hopes to set a world record with the largest Ouija board. There it is. Blair Murphy's home features, among other things, a giant Ouija board on the roof.
Interesting. It's 44 feet by 29 feet, and Murphy says he's talked with the Guinness World Records people about possibly getting into the book. Murphy is a Los Angeles filmmaker who randomly brought the structure online. He's opening up the home for tours Friday and Saturday. Do you believe in that? The big question here?
I do. I've heard bad things about it. I think that's probably the worst idea in the world because
it's on your house.
It's on your house.
I think I believe it too.
I think like Linda Blair or Chucky could portal into your home after it. That is just not a good idea for anybody in the neighborhood. I wouldn't even want to live around there.
It's true. All right, so the next story takes the creepiness level a little higher, believe it or not. Haunted houses are supposed to be scary, but something truly unsettling was found at one in Wisconsin, Rye. Real human skeletons were discovered inside 2 19th century coffins.
Come on, that's just a little too much, no?
The coffins were donated for the haunted house, but apparently nobody opened them.
Might want to do that in the future now. So I guess apparently one of the skeletons was fully intact, and it was funny because yesterday we did a story that airs on Monday. We went to the Majestic Theater in Bridgeport,
which hasn't been open for decades,
since 1971, and they gave us an exclusive look. And they said, yeah, just go up there to the top to the projectors. By myself, mind you, without a flashlight.
Is it allegedly haunted?
Well, yeah, there are some hauntings there. So
skeletons?
That's what I was worried about, because I'm going to this place that hasn't been seen since 1971, and I was waiting to see a skeleton or somebody napping up there. Creepy stuff.
Oh, we'll have to see your story to see how it turned out.
Monday, right here on CT Style. Yeah.
All right, so anything guys can do, girls can do better?
Really?
What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I guess it could be true. How about when it comes to road rage? Do you have a lot of rage?
No.
I know you're the traffic girl, so you can't.
Pretty calm behind the wheel.
Are you?
Hyundai Motors conducted a study and found that, believe it or not, women are more likely to suffer from road rage compared to men. Researchers tested 1,000 people and found women are 12% angrier than men when behind the wheel. And what do you think are the things that set women off the most?
Maybe being cut off by a driver.
That's on the list.
Being honked at.
That also is on the list.
Backseat drivers.
That'll do it.
There it is.
But women's anger faded with age. Generally, after the age of 33, women relaxed.
But you've always been chill. You've always been sort of. Is there a thing that really grinds your gears when you're out there behind the wheel?
You know, texting and driving really bothers me, especially you're on the highway and you see somebody swerving out of lanes, and it's 9 times out of 10 they have the phone in their hand.
I don't like when women are farting in the car. Do you know what that is?
What are you talking about?
Farting. It's when women are applying makeup in the car. Google it. It's a real thing. I'm not making words up. F-A-R-D-I-N-G. Check it out.
You caught me off guard with that one.
Happy Friday. Hey, in this morning's Cruise in Connecticut, 3 haunted houses under one roof. We're going to let her laugh over here. Scares and future nightmares are back from the dead at Fright Haven in Stratford. After doing this story, I'm ready to get back to...
Do you feel like you have creepy things on you?
Spooky stuff. Just take a look at this. Cryptmaster Chucky, thank you so much for having us today. All right, riveting conversation. This place is gigantic.
Thank you, yeah. We've worked really hard to make it the largest indoor haunted attraction in the state. Actually, 3 different themed attractions. So you're walking through old-fashioned, Victorian.
What is that? I think she needs to see a chiropractor. Are you okay? Do you have turkey and Swiss?
That's all my babies. They're all good.
Oh my God! Can I bring this with me to protect myself? Can I use this as a tool?
Please,
Okay.
bring it with you.
Oh, that's my funeral! Okay, I'm sorry. Get out of here now! Billy Joel, go back over there. Here, take this.
And then you move on to the Frightmare Institute,
Okay, yeah. Okay.
which is a sensory dark haunt, which just messes with your mind.
I'm starving. You're starving. There's a Starbucks down the road. Do you want a macchiato or what? No.
Then you walk into the Carnival of Evil, and that's a 3D
Oh, okay.
clown haunt filled with crazed clowns.
How timely. I know. Not all of you are creepy. Oh, no, wait, whoa.
Okay.
All right, you can get him. Can't we just go to a restaurant or like a apple picking field or something? Can we get a selfie? It's my future wife right there.
She's cute.
Girl.
That was a real rat crawling around you?
That was a legit rat, yeah.
Why did they do that?
I don't know, but
why did you let that happen?
I didn't. They just kind of put it on me and then started licking my ear, and I said,
Oh,
"Sir, you need to
jeez.
get this rat off me. This is a little too much." But
That was a scare. That's like for 13 plus, I feel like.
yeah,
right? That was scary.
Or 26 plus, something like that. I don't know, but I mean that is Fright Haven in Stratford. Make sure you guys check it out. And also they have a family-friendly tour that you can take with lights on and everything like that. So check them out.
Very
Fright
good.
Haven.
Something for everyone. Stay with us. We have a great show planned for you today.